welcome to this edition of The Intake, the podcast of the Association for Animal Welfare Advancement. We would like to welcome our guests today. We have joining us really special folks today, Steve Zeidman, who is a Senior Vice President with Pethealth, who is a great friend of the association. Welcome, Steve. And we've got Adan Parra and Michelle Anderson of El Paso Animal Services, all the way over in West Texas. Before we went on the air live, I actually got an invitation to West Texas, and I'm going to take them up on that. Can't wait to see that part of the country. Maybe I'll hook up my little camper and we'll just make a road trip out of it. Well, welcome you all. I really do appreciate you joining us today for this very special edition of the Intake. We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right to it. Steve, tell us why Pet Health decided to initiate this award honoring Bob and Diane Hoover. I've known Bob Hoover for a long time. You know, I was a chameleon user way back in the early years when that was our only option. Before that, we were all index cards that were constantly getting wet or infested with varmints and all of that kind of stuff. So Bob really did sort of bring us into the modern age by developing chameleon software for us to use to manage our shelters. But tell us why you guys decided to do this innovation award in their honor.
Yeah, Jim, you really did. You hit on it. For those who know that the chameleon product and the HLP family became part of the Pet Health family. Now it's going on almost 3 years, and at that point, Bob and Diane retired from their 35-year stint of running the chameleon business, and it was really important to us. For all of us, whether we were a competitor or a partner or a client. I started out as a chameleon client too in New York City. It was important to understand the fact that they are all the technology for animal welfare started with chameleon and started 35 years ago, and we thought how with their retirement, what a great way to honor that legacy, and a legacy that Pet Health wants to be a part of and continue through this award, and keeping the new generation to know that there was 35 years of history that got us to where we are with animal welfare technology.
Yeah, it really is remarkable that it's been that long. When I look back on my many years in animal welfare, it's hard to believe that I actually predate that level of technology in the industry. We've come a really long way in a really short period of time when you think about it. And now we have, folks have got options, and you guys came along with Pet Point and all the other great products that Pet Health has delivered to the industry. So it's pretty remarkable. I have been fortunate enough since the award was conceived a couple of years ago to be on the panel of judges who really look at all of these projects that are submitted that are truly really representative of innovation in the field. And when I look back at the early years of animal welfare and think how far we've come in such a short period of time, it's because our folks are innovative. I guess necessity really is the mother of invention, and so we found ourselves in a position of having to come up with creative solutions to problems, and oftentimes creative solutions that really didn't cost us anything, because in the early years especially, none of us had any money to work with at all. So we've come a great distance. Tell us a little bit about the process for submissions to the award, and then also sort of how the judging, the panel operates.
Yeah, so we had 54 candidates, organizations that submitted an application this year. So that was really exciting to see that number of people hearing about the award and wanting to participate. So that in and of itself is a victory, I think. The next thing was the first, we kind of weeded through and made sure those that actually qualify. So, obviously a lot of people will submit something and then it was like, they don't quite fit, just like a lot of people with grants, right? Like, hey, I'll just throw something out there and we'll see what happens. So once we kind of weeded that group, some of those off, then it did go out to the committee. And as Jim said, we invited members of the animal welfare community to be involved in the process, of a few pet health employees, and then ultimately we would narrow it down based on a scoring that that committee did individually, and really the final decision came down to with collaboration with Bob and Diane themselves. So they saw the very final submissions and helped us pick the winner. So it's great, and it's a great way for us to pull them out of retirement once a year to really see what's happening in the industry, and it's been great.
Yeah, it's as a judge, I can attest to the fact that it's a really challenging process when you look at all the great ideas that are submitted. It's really hard to kind of narrow it down. So that you all have come up with a really good system where it's very fair and equitable, I think, to everybody who enters, and by scoring independently, we're not influencing each other. We're not doing any lobbying behind the scenes as judges to try and make our pet project the winner. It really is a very sort of fair and square process, but it's tough. It's really tough when you read about it. You just want it, you want to give everybody the award. So it's that's a challenging part.
I wanted to add is one of the things that we do that to make it extra fair is we do remove the name of the organization and the software that they're using. So when we're evaluating them, we don't know if it's a current client. We don't know if it's someone on a competitor's software. But it's great that we have, because we can have our own blind spots around, if they're using specific products. So we black out the products and the name of the organization. So it's extra fair.
That's real. That's a great point, Steve. Yeah, I remember reading through the all the entries and thinking, I wonder who this is, and trying to sort of cipher through it in my head. And you really, there's no way to know until the winner is actually announced at the end of the process. So that's a great point to add. So Adan and Michelle, you guys came up with a really fantastic program that you submitted, and ultimately were successful in winning this award this past year. Tell us a little bit about the problem you were trying to solve with your program and sort of how everything works. I know the audience really would love to hear more from you all about what it is that you submitted and what you're doing over there in El Paso.
So the problem we were trying to solve is essentially, there's a lot of organizations in animal welfare. A lot of people want to help. A lot of people, organizations have their way of trying to get those lost pets back home. There's microchips, there's databases, there's a lot of resources out there. Finding Rover, there's numerous Facebook and social media pages where people can post lost and found pets. And so really the problem that we wanted to solve was trying to have at least a centralized location for our community to be able to find lost pets and get them back home to their owners, because we know that it's been proven that pets are actually only like a mile or two away from their homes, as opposed to getting them over here to our shelter, where of course they will be cared for. But if we can keep them right in the neighborhood where they were lost, and provide a resource for the community to get those lost pets back home, that was the key the key problem that we were trying to solve was just keep pets in their neighborhoods and get them back home as quickly as possible.
And I kind of want to put it into perspective, because a lot of people don't realize how large of a community this is. I mean, on a non-COVID year, we were taking in over 27,000 animals a year into our care. So that's a lot of lost and found pets. Of course, we have, a function on our website where people can view all the pets that come into our care on our website. But imagine how much you have to scroll, and look through the hundreds and sometimes thousands of animals that are either in our care here at the shelter or in foster homes. It's a lot for someone to have to kind of go through. And so that was the idea behind this pet finder map, was that someone that loses their pet or finds a pet, they can zoom into that location of their neighborhood and kind of see the pets that were either lost or found in that direct area, and kind of help narrow down that search a little bit more, so that they're not, looking through hundreds and hundreds of pets they can kind of narrow down their search a little bit.
It's great because it's really sort of a win-win-win proposition, right? You're not having to care for these animals in shelter either at all, or at least not for very long. The animals aren't having to deal with living in a shelter for any length of time, if at all. And the pet owners are getting their pets returned to them in record time as a result. So everybody wins in this equation. It's a fantastic idea. What did you guys think when you heard that you'd won? What was your response, and how did you share it with your team?
Well, the fact that we even applied to begin with was pretty. Uh, it was a kind of a weird situation because Michelle and I really didn't think anything of the project that we had worked on. But as soon as we saw that the award was out there and that there was an application process, our director, Paula Powell, she said, "You guys need to apply." And so Michelle and I kind of looked at each other and
Okay.
okay, so we went through the application process and submitted our idea. We didn't think that it was that amazing. We were just trying to help and solve a problem, like we had mentioned before. But we were definitely surprised and proud to have won the award for El Paso and our community, because that also goes to show all of the assistance that our community members are willing to provide to their neighbors, willing to get their neighbors' pets back home to them. It just shows how our community can come together to solve an issue.
And I mean, it's been amazing because especially recently, we implemented a new program last summer called our Community and Pet Support Program. So it just kind of adds an extra layer of support for anyone that lost or found a pet, and giving them the resources and the tools to help care for that pet in their home, at least for a couple of days while we try and do the work to reunite that pet. And we've been hearing some awesome success stories of people reuniting with their pet within hours or a day, thanks to the Pet Finder map and of all of the technology that we've implemented, especially over the last year or two. So, I mean, it's working in our community, and we're not done with the map. It's a constant work in progress. We're continuing to work on it and try to make it better. So, I mean, I think that it's a very important tool for our community and to help get lost and found pets back home.
It's really kind of what our organization's all about. The association's really all about having members share what they're up to, what's working and what's not working, and what their challenges may be out in their communities. It's really we really want to bring them together. And thanks so much to Pethealth for actually bringing this award to the table so that we can benefit, and all of our members can benefit from these great ideas. You all are humble. You're not going to brag about what you're doing. You're all the way over there in West Texas. So, it may be that folks in the Northeast may never even know you exist. And by offering this reward, Pethealth has really helped us shine a light on the innovation that happens everywhere across this country. It's really pretty remarkable. So congratulations. I know there was a nice little cash prize that came along with this award. Have you all given any thought to how you're going to use that award?
Well, Michelle and I are definitely the tech geeks around here at the shelter, and so we're definitely going to look into seeing what other kind of technology we can implement here to facilitate our getting pets back to their owners. Especially during these times of COVID, you're doing a lot of curbside stuff. We even have a program that's called that we dubbed in recognition of Amazon. Amazon has Amazon Prime. We have Animal Services Prime. We'll actually, if an owner can't get out here to pick up their pet, we'll actually deliver it to them. So we're just always thinking of new ways to implement technology, and we'll definitely it's going to go in the realm of technology.
I just got this little twisted picture in my head of a drone carrying a dog crate across West Texas.
Yeah.
So heaven only knows what you all come up with next. We have to draw the line somewhere, but that really, really amazing. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. So Steve, you all at Pet Health have been really amazingly helpful throughout the COVID response of providing data updates so that we all really, as sheltering organizations, can make decisions based upon what's really happening out there in the real world. Between Pet Health and Shelter Animals Count, I think we've had really wonderful reporting back out to the field, and it's been tremendously useful. You know, the word unprecedented has been way overused over the last year, but it really truly has been not only an unprecedented event, but an unprecedented response to the event. You all have been on the cutting edge of that, really leading the way with data. And I personally really have appreciated and benefited from your regular updates there. What, Steve, do you think? Adan and Michelle mentioned that they're going to continue to invest in technology in their organization. What do you recommend? What do you think shelters need to be focused on in terms of technology, both now and in the years ahead?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. The first thing I always say to a shelter is, are you utilizing your current products well? I got to say that in general, when I look at our clients, I see how much technology we have that they're already getting as part of the package, and they're not taking advantage of it. So before you look to spend more money on technology, make sure you're taking full advantage of the product that you have. So many of these products, you might have implemented them 5, 10 years ago, but the software keeps it evolving. And they might have been, when the new functionality came out, you might not have needed it, but now you do need it, and you don't realize it's there. So I always say the first thing is to start, looking at the technology that you have. And then the next thing I would say is, look in doing what they did in El Paso is, don't assume that the solution is animal welfare technology, right? The opportunity is, the animal welfare technology space is still a very, very small space when it comes to technology. So some of the best solutions out there are products that might be for restaurants or might be for retail. If you think about what the problem you want to solve is, think about what's the industry or what's the type, this kind of general software out there that can solve it for you, and then look for how those can interact with your software product if there needs to be a direct interaction. Because I've used this line before, is if you took something like donor management software. Now, donor management software is designed for any nonprofit. Well, humane societies and animal welfare organizations make up half of 1% of all nonprofits in the United States. So that means the market for donor management software is 200 times the market of shelter software, right? Which is very specific. So their ability to build really amazing technology is way beyond the capacity of anyone in animal welfare, whether it's Pet Health or any other of our competitors in the space. So I always say, look towards those other groups. I mean, lots of organizations I've seen have implemented things like Salesforce, have implemented, survey, even something as simple as SurveyMonkey. There's so many technologies out there that are cheap and easy to implement, and don't break the bank. And because they're almost always web-based technologies, it's a pay-as-you-go. There's no big investment. So always take advantage of those tools out there, and don't get stuck in that only it has to be something that is specific to animal welfare.
And if I may, I also would like to mention that, this project, our Pet Finder Map, it wasn't just us internally, Animal Services. We partnered with our information technology department, who helped us create the Pet Finder Map through a GIS software, I guess. I don't really know the technicalities behind it, but I mean, they use it for other things. They use it for our environmental services department. They have a GIS map that's similar. They use it for our districts that kind of separate the different districts within the city council. So they kind of just took that software and then tweaked it for our usage. So it wasn't even an animal welfare software. It was something completely different that we just kind of tweaked for our usage. And so take advantage of those departments that you can partner up with, especially if you're a municipal shelter, because your IT department is there to help you.
That's great advice. And I think the to take that one step further, tap into your network within the animal welfare space. There are a lot of bright folks in our business and right here within our membership. And if we circle the wagons and really treat ourselves like we're an island and isolate ourselves, we're never going to really learn about all the things that are already happening. We don't have time to waste reinventing the wheel if somebody else, if one of our neighbors or colleagues has already done it. It occurs to me how lucky we are that, especially Steve, with your example of donor software, thinking about, the bigger picture of technology. We are so lucky that Bob and Diane Hoover had an interest in what we do and developed the first software to sort of, lead us down that path. And when I think about the advancements that we've made as a result of that, as a result of them deciding to make Chameleon available within the animal welfare and animal services space, and what you all have done as a company to continue advancing technology, and then at the grassroots, what folks like you guys in El Paso have done to really help bring us along. It's remarkable. I'm glad that I was here to see it. I hope that I'm around for a little longer so I can see the continuing development and continuing improvement in the way we do things. So thank you all so much for spending part of your day with us today. Really helpful to hear your tips and tricks and points of view on the use of technology in our field. And Steve, thank you all for providing the award. To all you out there in animal welfare land, keep innovating. It's, we can't be stagnant. We've got too much work still to do to rest on our laurels. So keep innovating and keep doing the great work you do every day. Thank you all. Great being with you.
Thank you so much, Jim, for having us, and thank you, Steve, again.
Thank you all. We really want to thank Pethealth and our program Pet Point that we use, and Bob and Diane Hoover especially for their vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. And we are at Pethealth really happy to be part of the animal welfare, and particularly with the association. It is amazing the work that you guys do, and it is such a pleasure to support the organization and support our 1,500 clients that run one of our products. So we really do love innovation, and we love seeing the work that our clients are doing, and can't wait to keep doing this award.